Dear listeners, a new day and a new story to discuss. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that interests me. Listen and write down what you think about this situation. I'm interested in your opinions. The air was buzzing with the electric energy of the party as I stepped into Lisa's living room. The room was alive with laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the rhythmic pulse of music. I was there, somewhat reluctantly, coaxed by friends who insisted I needed to get out more. The bright lights, the sea of unfamiliar faces, it was overwhelming, yet exciting. I remember I was standing near the makeshift bar, nursing a soda, when he walked in. Alex. Even now, thinking about him sends a cascade of butterflies through my stomach. He was like a beacon of confidence in that crowded room, his smile lighting up his face, making him stand out even in the dim light. He caught my eye almost immediately. Our gazes locked, and for a moment, it felt like we were the only two people in the room. I quickly looked away, my cheeks burning, but when I dared to glance back, he was already making his way towards me. Hey, I'm Alex, he said, extending his hand with a warm, inviting smile. His voice was like a melody, confident yet gentle. Anna, I replied, my voice almost a whisper. I took his hand, feeling a jolt of electricity at the touch. I haven't seen you around before. Are you a friend of Lisa's? He asked, his eyes searching mine, as if trying to uncover all the stories I had hidden within. I nodded, a bit taken aback by his directness. Yeah, we work together. She practically dragged me here. He chuckled, a sound so delightful it made my heart flutter. Well, I'm glad she did. Mind if I join you? As we talked, the world around us seemed to fade away. He was charming, his words weaving a tapestry of humor and intelligence. He asked about my job, my hobbies, about the little things that made up my world. It was so easy to talk to him, like we'd known each other for years. Tell me, Anna, he said, leaning in closer, what's something you're passionate about? I found myself opening up about my love for painting, how I'd spend hours lost in colors and canvases. He listened with such intensity, every word I said seemed to matter deeply to him. That's incredible, he said, his eyes sparkling with genuine interest. I'd love to see your work sometime. The evening rolled on, and we found ourselves tucked away in a quiet corner, engrossed in conversation. There was something magical about the way he looked at me, a mix of curiosity and admiration that made me feel seen in a way I never had before. As the party began to wind down, he hesitated for a moment, then asked, would you like to go out for coffee sometime? Just you and me. My heart skipped a beat. I'd like that, I managed to say, trying to contain the excitement that was bubbling inside me. He smiled, that dazzling smile that would soon become my world. Great. It's a date then. As he walked me to my car later that night, the stars above us seemed to shine a little brighter. I knew in that moment that something extraordinary had just begun. An adventure, a chapter of my life that would change everything. And it all started with that fateful meeting at Lisa's party. Our first coffee date turned into a long, meandering walk through the city's vibrant streets. With each step, each shared laughter, I felt myself drawn more deeply into Alex's world. He had this incredible way of making the mundane seem extraordinary. We talked about everything and nothing, from our favorite movies to our childhood dreams. One evening, a few weeks into our budding relationship, Alex surprised me by showing up at my doorstep with a canvas and paints. His eyes were gleaming with excitement. I remember you said you loved painting. I thought maybe we could paint something together, he said, his voice filled with anticipation. I was touched by his thoughtfulness. Setting up the canvas in my small living room, we spent hours painting, our brushes dancing in harmony. Alex wasn't much of an artist, but he was eager to learn, and his enthusiasm was infectious. We ended up with a whimsical mix of colors, a vivid representation of the joy we were experiencing. As we painted, Alex turned to me, his eyes soft. Anna, I feel like I've known you forever. It's like you've walked straight out of my dreams and into my life. I blushed, my heart racing. Alex, I feel the same way. It's like there's this connection between us that I can't explain. Our dates became a regular part of our lives. We explored hidden cafes, attended quirky local events, and spent lazy afternoons in the park. Each moment with him felt like a precious gem, brightening my life in ways I never imagined. One night, under a sky lit by a sliver of moon, we sat by the riverbank, the water reflecting the twinkling city lights. Alex took my hand, his touch gentle yet firm. Anna, I've been thinking a lot about us, he began, his voice serious. I've never felt this way about anyone before. You make me want to be the best version of myself. I squeezed his hand, my emotions swelling. Alex, being with you feels right. It's like coming home. He leaned in, his gaze locked onto mine. and whispered, "I want to be with you, Anna, for as long as you'll have me." In that moment, as our lips met in a kiss that seemed to stop time, I knew that what we had was special. It wasn't just a fleeting romance, it was the beginning of a deep, meaningful bond that would anchor us through the ups and downs of life. Our relationship blossomed with each passing day. We shared our fears, our hopes, and our dreams. Alex was not just my boyfriend, he became my confidant, my rock. He was there for me when I got the promotion at work, cheering me on, and he was there to hold me when I lost my beloved grandmother, offering comfort and strength. One evening, as we cooked dinner together in his apartment, the sound of laughter and the aroma of spices filling the air, I realized just how deeply I had fallen for him. "Alex," I said, pausing to look at him, "I never knew love could be like this. You've changed my life." He stopped what he was doing, his expression serious yet tender. "Anna, you've changed mine too. I love you, more than I thought possible." Hearing those words, I felt a warmth spread through my chest. "I love you too, Alex. More than words can say." As we sat down to dinner, the candlelight flickering softly between us, I knew that our bond was something rare and beautiful. It was a connection that went beyond words, a deepening bond that promised a lifetime of shared moments and cherished memories. The day Alex proposed was like something out of a fairy tale. We were on a weekend getaway at a cozy cabin nestled in the mountains. It was a crisp autumn evening, and the forest around us was ablaze with reds, oranges, and yellows. We were on a hike, the ground crunching under our feet, when Alex suddenly stopped, turned towards me, and got down on one knee. "Anna," he began, his eyes glistening with emotion, "from the moment we met, you filled my life with so much joy and love. I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in my eyes, and 1,000 emotions surged through me. "Yes, Alex. Yes, 1,000,000 times yes," I exclaimed, leaping into his arms. Our wedding day was a whirlwind of joy, laughter, and tears. We exchanged vows under a canopy of flowers, surrounded by our closest friends and family. As we danced our first dance, I remember thinking, this is just the beginning of our forever. Life as a married couple was blissful. We settled into a comfortable routine, supporting each other through work challenges and celebrating small victories together. Then, a year into our marriage, we discovered I was pregnant. The news filled us with indescribable happiness. "Alex, we're going to be parents," I exclaimed, waving the pregnancy test in the air. He wrapped me in his arms, his voice choked with emotion. "Anna, this is the best news ever. We're going to have a baby." The pregnancy was a journey we embarked on together. Alex was there every step of the way, from doctor's appointments to late-night cravings. The day our son, Jacob, was born was a day filled with pure love. Holding our baby for the first time, I looked into Alex's tear-filled eyes. "He's perfect, Alex. Just perfect," I whispered, cradling Jacob in my arms. Alex kissed my forehead, his voice filled with awe. "He's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Anna, we made this. He's our little miracle." Parenthood was a roller coaster of sleepless nights, endless diapers, and heart-melting firsts. Alex was a natural father, his love for Jacob evident in every gentle touch, every lullaby sung. We spent countless hours just watching Jacob sleep, marveling at the miracle we had created. One night, as we were putting Jacob to bed, Alex said, "I always hoped for a son, but I think we should try for a little girl too. What do you think?" I smiled, my heart swelling with love for my little family. "I think that's a wonderful idea, Alex. Jacob would love to have a little sister." Life as a family of 3 was full of laughter and love. We took Jacob to the park, watched him take his first steps, and heard his first words. Every day with him was an adventure, a new memory to cherish. However, amidst the joys of parenthood, I noticed changes in myself. After giving birth, I struggled with my body image, the weight I had gained during pregnancy lingering like an unwelcome guest. I remember looking at myself in the mirror one day, sighing in frustration. Alex walked in, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "You're beautiful, Anna. You've just given us the most incredible gift. Don't be so hard on yourself." I leaned back into his embrace, a tear rolling down my cheek. "I just don't feel like myself anymore, Alex. I feel like I've lost a part of me." He turned me around, looking into my eyes. "Let's do this together. We can start working out, make it our thing. It'll be fun, I promise." I nodded, grateful for his support. "Okay, let's do it. Together." As we embarked on this new journey, I realized that marriage and parenthood were about growing and adapting together. It was about facing challenges and emerging stronger as a couple. And with Alex by my side, I felt ready to take on anything. The months following Jacob's birth were a whirlwind of emotions. Amid the joy and wonder of parenting, a shadow of self-doubt began to creep into my heart. The mirror became my enemy, reflecting a version of myself I struggled to recognize. I would often stand before it, my eyes tracing the changes in my body with a growing sense of despair. One evening, as I was trying on clothes, nothing seemed to fit right. I let out a frustrated sigh. "I just don't look the same anymore, Alex," I lamented, my voice tinged with sadness. Alex walked into the room, his expression one of concern. "Anna, you're beautiful. You've always been, and you always will be. These changes, they're signs of the amazing thing you've done, bringing our son into the world." I wanted to believe him, to see myself through his eyes, but the doubt was like a thick fog, clouding my ability to accept his words. "I appreciate you saying that, Alex, but I just don't feel attractive anymore." Alex, ever the optimist, tried to lighten the mood. "How about we start working out together? It could be fun, and we can motivate each other." I nodded, though a part of me doubted I would follow through. "Maybe you're right. Let's give it a try." Despite Alex's enthusiasm, finding time and energy for exercise proved challenging. Between work and caring for Jacob, I was often too exhausted to even think about working out. Every time Alex went to the gym, he'd invite me along, but I always found an excuse. "Maybe next time" became my regular response. As time went on, the gap in our physical routines began to widen. Alex maintained his fitness regime, his dedication admirable but also a stark reminder of my own struggles. I watched as he grew more toned and fit, while I remained stagnant, my self-esteem dwindling. Our intimate life, once vibrant and fulfilling, began to suffer. Alex would reach out to me, his advances gentle and loving, but I found myself pulling away, the image of my body overshadowing my desire for closeness. One night, lying in bed, the silence between us felt like a chasm. Alex broke the quiet, his voice soft. "Anna, is everything okay? You've been distant lately." I turned away, the words catching in my throat. "I just don't feel good about myself, Alex. I don't feel desirable." Alex moved closer, wrapping an arm around me. "You are desirable, Anna. To me, you're the most beautiful woman in the world. I love you, just the way you are." His words were a balm, but they couldn't chase away the insecurities that had taken root in my mind. "I know you say that, and I love you for it, but it's how I feel about myself that's the problem." The strain began to show in other aspects of our life, too. Conversations became shorter, more functional, lacking the depth and warmth we once shared. We were like two ships passing in the night, connected by our love for Jacob but drifting apart in our personal connection. Alex suggested a night out, just the two of us, to rekindle the spark. "Let's have a date night, Anna. Leave Jacob with my mom and spend some time together." The idea was appealing, but when the night came, I found myself hesitating. "I'm not sure, Alex. Maybe we should just stay in." He looked disappointed but didn't push it. "Okay, if that's what you want, we can stay in." The regret was immediate, but the damage was done. I could see the hurt in Alex's eyes, a reflection of the distance that had grown between us. The love was still there, but it was buried under layers of self-doubt and unspoken fears. As I lay in bed that night, Alex's steady breathing beside me, I couldn't help but wonder how we had gotten to this point. Where had the carefree, confident woman I once was gone? And how could I find my way back to her, back to us? The unraveling of our bond began subtly, almost imperceptibly, like the slow fraying of a well-worn fabric. It was a typical Thursday evening, and Alex had been working late at the hospital. He came home exhausted, his usually bright eyes shadowed with fatigue. He barely managed a tired smile before heading straight to bed. Lying awake, my mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. The silence of the house amplified the noise in my head. Doubts, insecurities, fears, they swirled around me like a relentless storm. In a moment of weakness, driven by a nagging suspicion that refused to leave me, I did something I had never done before. I picked up Alex's phone from the nightstand. As I scrolled through his messages, a sense of guilt washed over me. But it was too late to turn back. The messages were mostly mundane. Texts from colleagues, friends, a few from his gym buddies. Then I stumbled upon a conversation with a woman named Emily. My heart skipped a beat. She was someone I knew Alex had dated before we met. Reading their exchange, my heart pounded in my chest. They were talking about meeting up, but Alex had politely declined, mentioning his commitment to our family. Despite his clear refusal, a seed of doubt was planted in my mind. The next morning, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. Alex, oblivious to my inner turmoil, was his usual affectionate self. "Morning, love," he said, planting a kiss on my forehead. "I've got another long day ahead. I'll see you tonight." I forced a smile, hiding the storm inside me. "Sure, have a good day." As the day wore on, the doubt turned into an obsession. I found myself going through his social media, looking for any sign of infidelity. Every like, every comment from a female friend seemed like a clue in a puzzle I was desperate to solve. That evening, when Alex returned home, I couldn't contain the bubbling cauldron of emotions any longer. "Alex, are you happy with our marriage?" I blurted out as we sat down for dinner. He looked taken aback, his fork halfway to his mouth. "Of course, I am. Why would you ask that?" I hesitated, then decided to confront him. "I saw your messages with Emily. Are you sure there's nothing going on?" Alex put down his fork, his expression a mix of shock and hurt. "Anna, I can't believe you'd think that." I told her no. "I'm committed to you and our family. How can you even question that?" I wanted to believe him, but the seeds of doubt had taken root too deeply. "I don't know, Alex. I just feel like there's something you're not telling me." The conversation ended with a heavy silence. Alex was hurt, and I was confused, lost in a maze of my own making. In a desperate bid for reassurance, I did something I never thought I would. I reached out to an old boyfriend, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. It started innocently enough, a message, a reply. But soon, it spiraled into something more. We met up, and in a moment of utter recklessness, I betrayed Alex. The guilt was immediate and overwhelming. I had crossed a line from which there was no return. I had shattered the trust that was the foundation of our marriage. That night, lying next to Alex, I was consumed by regret. He was unaware of the storm raging inside me, the turmoil that I had brought upon us. It took me 3 days to gather the courage to confess. When I finally did, Alex's reaction was one of profound shock and pain. He didn't say a word, just got up and walked away, locking himself in our room. I sat there, alone, my world crumbling around me. The enormity of what I had done weighed heavily on my chest. I had unraveled the beautiful tapestry of our life together, thread by thread, and now I was left with nothing but the frayed remains of a once beautiful love story. The days following my confession were the longest and darkest of my life. The house, once filled with laughter and love, was now steeped in a heavy silence that hung over us like a thick fog. Alex moved through the days like a ghost, his eyes hollow, his voice a mere whisper of its former warmth. I tried to reach out to him, to bridge the chasm that had opened up between us, but my attempts were met with cold indifference. "Alex, please, can we talk?" I pleaded one morning, finding him staring blankly out the kitchen window. He turned to look at me, his gaze piercing. "What's there to talk about, Anna? You've said enough." His voice was flat, devoid of the affection that used to color every word he said to me. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, a physical manifestation of the emotional wound I had inflicted. "I'm so sorry, Alex. I never wanted to hurt you. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake." He shook his head, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. "A mistake? Is that what you call it? You shattered everything, Anna. Our trust, our marriage, our family." I reached out to touch his arm, but he recoiled as if my touch burned him. "Please, don't. I can't even look at you right now," he muttered, turning away. The following days were a blur of tears and unanswered questions. Alex slept in the guest room, and our conversations were limited to necessities, mostly about Jacob. The vibrant connection we once shared had been replaced by an insurmountable barrier. One evening, as I put Jacob to bed, the reality of our situation hit me like a tidal wave. I looked at our son, his innocent eyes unaware of the turmoil around him, and my heart broke all over again. "Mommy loves you so much, Jacob," I whispered, kissing his forehead. Leaving Jacob's room, I found Alex sitting in the living room, his face etched with grief. "Alex, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I can't bear this. I miss you. I miss us." He looked up, his eyes red-rimmed. "You think I don't miss what we had? But how can I trust you again, Anna? How can we go back to the way things were?" I had no answers, only a deep well of regret. I would do anything to undo what I did, anything to make this right. Alex stood up, his movements slow and heavy. "I need time, Anna. Time to think, to figure out what comes next for us." The next day, I woke up to find Alex gone. A note on the kitchen counter read, "I need some space. Don't worry, I'll be in touch about Jacob." The house felt empty, a stark reminder of the void his absence left in my life. Days turned into weeks, and the only contact we had were brief, stilted conversations about Jacob's well-being. Lying in bed one night, the silence oppressive, I wondered how things could have gone so horribly wrong. The love story that had started with so much promise had turned into a tale of heartbreak and betrayal. The fallout of my actions was more devastating than I could have ever imagined, leaving me to grapple with the pieces of a once beautiful life, now shattered beyond recognition.